meeting Tuesday, April 18th. We'll have the invocation by Councilmember Jeffrey Darby and the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Don Williams. Please stand.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for another day that you've allowed us to see. We thank you for those who are here. We thank you, Lord, for this city. We thank you for this state. We thank you for this nation. We ask, Lord, that you give us direction in doing the business of this city. We pray for those who are sick among us. We ask that you will give them recovery and healing. Father, we thank you for every person here. Bless their home, bless their family. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please face the flag. Repeat the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Montgomery. Mr. Larkin.
I'm here.
Here.
Mr. Irwin.
Here.
Mr. Darby.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Free.
Here.
Mr. Harvey.
Here.
All present.
Approve the minutes of April 14th, 2017 regular meeting to dispense with the reading.
So moved.
Second.
Council, please cast your vote. No add-ons.
No, sir, we have no add-ons today.
If we can approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Council, please cast your vote. Councilman Williams, we have a very special group of young men here today.
Coach, y'all usually wrestlers want to come up? I'll give you my glasses when we start. Hey, if we got any parents that want to come up here and take pictures, don't hesitate to do that. Guys, just if you don't mind, just form a line back here. Here you go. Here you go.
Because they have this.
Yeah, each one of them.
Okay,
Each
we
one
need
of
this
them.
too.
Yeah, okay. Let me say the mayor, I think, had to go to a doctor's appointment, so he won't be here. President Montgomery's, we got a proclamation to read today, but I just want to welcome the coaches from Parkway, Airline, and Houghton. You know, in February we had the high school state championship wrestling matches, and we got some state champions here behind us. And you know, we usually me and David goes. He was out of town or out somewhere, but me and my grandson went because we enjoy it every year. And what these guys put into wrestling, you know, I had a son and a nephew that wrestled. Mr. Montgomery wrestled at Airline, and both of his sons wrestled at Airline. So, man, it takes a lot. You can stay there out there for a couple minutes, but that couple minutes they put everything they got into it. So I want to congratulate them and the coaches. We got Chris Knotts from Airline, John, your last name, Onisha? Oh, that's it. And Emmett Beggs from Parkway. But anyway, I want to run through some of their stats. And Johnny, please, what's Johnny? Please forgive me if I mess your name up again. We got Johnny Van Veckhoven from Parkway and Coach Onisha. From Houghton, I'm sorry. I seen the Parkway right here. Anyway, Johnny wrestled all 4 years at Houghton. He was a two-sport athlete, starting offensive line for the Bucks. 2016 wrestling state runner-up at 220 pounds. He missed part of the year due to a surgery. His senior year, he went 20-4 in his matches. In 2017, this year, he wrestled the 285 class. And if I'm not mistaken, you pinned your opponent in 30 seconds. So just want to thank Johnny for being here. And like I said, I know what goes into it. Parkway, we've got Coach Emmett Beggs. We got 126-pound Trey Fontenot. Trey was 45-9 as a sophomore. He was third at the Zachary Big Horse Tournament, first at the Evangel Holiday Classic, third at the Riot Tournament, second at the Lone Survivor Tournament, second at the Jesuit Dallas Ranger Classic. 2017 2017 regional champion, 2017 Bossier Parish champion, and he's also the 2017 state champion. And he also carries a 3.692 GPA, which is pretty dang good. Let me see, which one is Trey? Appreciate it, man. All right, we got 132 pounds. Trevor Tamburo. That's it. He placed third at state as a freshman. His record was 24-10, and as a sophomore was 18-5 at 120 pounds. He was a 3-year varsity starter, 32-4 in his junior campaign. He was third at the Riot Tournament, second at the Evangel Eagle Open, third at the Zachary Big Horse, second at the Lone Survivor Tournament, first at the Jesuit Dallas Ranger Classic. He was a 2017 regional champion and 2017 state champion. And 2015-16 plays football, and right now, or 2015 till now, he's playing baseball. So he's a busy boy, and his GPA was 3.667. That's smart boys. Airline, we got Mr. Christian Walden, right there. Yeah. Let me see here. Christian was his senior year. He wrestled at 160 pounds, and he was 50-0. Can't get no better than that. He was the Arlington Martin Open champion at 160 pounds. The Trey Colada down in New Orleans was champion at 160. The Louisiana Classic champion at 160. The Louisiana Parish and Regional champion at 160. And Division I state champion this year at 160 pounds. This is his third straight year of being a champion. Matt Salinas, and I know Matt don't remember me, but his parents used to live in my district, and I know his dad and his mom. Her mom was going crazy, so she set 3 or 4 seats down for me. But I'm gonna ask you, I'm not trying to embarrass you. What do you think they call him? Because I saw it on the back of these jerseys. They call him the mullet. I was gonna say. You know, and they say it over the PA system, so you see why now. But his record was at 195, was 51-5. He was the Trey Colada New Orleans champion at 195, the Louisiana Parish and Regional champion at 195, and the Division I state champion at 195. Guys, coaches, and I just want to thank y'all for taking the time to come here. I mean, we try to recognize young men, women, state champions throughout our district and parish, you know, because it's a great accomplishment. So we're going to let Mr. Montgomery, since the mayor's not here, read your proclamation, and we got one for.
Okay, whereas Bossier Parish students from Airline High School, Parkway High School, and Halton High School won in the LHSSA State Wrestling Tournament, and whereas from Airline High School, senior Christian Walden took home the state title in Division I in the 160-pound weight class for the 3rd year in a row. He finished the 2016-17 season with an outstanding record of 50-0. His teammate, junior Matt Salinas, won the state division championship in Division I in the 195-pound weight class. He finished the 16-17 season with an impressive record of 51-5. Whereas from Parkway High School, sophomore Trey Fontenot claimed the Division II 126-pound state championship. His teammate, junior Trevor Tamburo, took the 132-pound state title, and whereas from Houghton High School senior Johnny Van Veckhoven took only 30 seconds to claim the state title, state champion in Division II 285-pound weight class. Now, whereas Mayor Lorenz Walker, Mayor of the City of Bossier City, along with the City Council of Bossier City, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, April 18, 2017 as LHSSA State Wrestling Champions Day here in Bossier City, Louisiana. And we ask the citizens to join the mayor and the city council in this worthy observance. Congratulations. burger. A triple cheeseburger from Bossier or something. Anyway, congratulations.
Yeah, that's Johnny's right there.
Thank y'all again. Mr. Buffington, it's kind of a hard act to follow, isn't it?
Very hard act to follow. Council, I passed out each one of your seats the financial reports for March, the year-to-date for March 31st. As you can see on the first page, our revenues are performing very well compared to budget. As you can see, overall, we're at 105% of budget. The actual sales tax collections, when you compare it year to year, we're a little bit below last year, the year 2016, but again, we based our budget off of 2015 numbers and not 2016. The next two pages are the expenditures, expenses for the respective funds and departments within those funds. The ones that have the in excess of 100%, those were software charges. Again, we pay those on an annual basis. So they were budgeted over 12 months, so that should come back into line as the year progresses. Those are always paid in March or April, so you'll always see that that variance. And so overall, we're at 92% of budgeted expenses and expenditures. Page 4 is the actual sales tax collections, as I mentioned before. Year over year, we're down about 5.1%. When you actually compare overall collections in the city. The next page is a manning report. We're currently at 671. Last report, we were at 670, so we've had one addition. Just to make a note, this does include all of the manning changes with the fire and the police, the addition, and the move between engineering and permits and inspection are all included in this report. The next few pages are the water and sewer funds, the detailed budgets on those. Of note in that is that March was a 3 payroll month, so last year it was April, so we'll have a little bit of timing difference on those comparisons. So year to date in April should have all of those differences lined out, but March was a 3 payroll month. So there's some variance in those numbers. They look a little bit higher in the salary and personnel lines than regular 1/12 would be. Any questions on those before I move to the next little handout I gave you?
Questions?
Again, the supplemental page that I gave was we have now confirmed all of our retirement contributions through the 3 largest retirement systems that the city's in. That's the MERS, the Municipal Employee Retirement System, the FRS, the Firefighters Retirement System, and the MPERS, which is the Police Retirement System. As you can see, the percentages reflected there are what we had in budget. We had respectively 11%, 27.25%, and 32.5%. Again, since the state's fiscal year is different than ours, their fiscal year starts July 1, ours starts in January, so there's a little bit overlap between those 2 percentages. So the new percentage that we got from those are, again, respectively, municipal 13.25%. Again, theirs went up. Again, everyone here knows the history that system has been plagued with some turnover in management due to some legislative auditor findings. But the other 2 came in below what we had budgeted. So I scheduled that out by individual department and individual fund. So as you can see in the general fund, based on those new figures and only taking it out for 6 months, it affects the last 6 months of the year. But overall, the savings to the general fund would be about $164,000 And again, the water and sewer funds is a little bit of an increased cost because of they're all MERS in that fund. Anyway, I just spelled it out by fund just so that y'all could have it. If you wanted to entertain a budget amendment based on those numbers, we could move forward, whatever y'all's direction is.
Sounds good. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Buckingham. Unfinished business.
Adopt an ordinance to create and enact the Barksdale Boulevard Redevelopment District and Barksdale South Neighborhood Redevelopment District, as well as establish the Barksdale Redevelopment District Committee. Final reading.
So moved. Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Adopt an ordinance to appropriate funds to cover requirements at the water treatment plant for a total of $111,355.37. Final reading.
So moved. Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Adopt an ordinance to appropriate $130,000 to come from the Water Capital Contingency Fund to be used to install a 42-inch water main crossing on Shed Road, just east of Benton Road, to allow for future water distribution improvements. Final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Adopt an ordinance authorizing Mayor Lorenz Walker to execute the attached lease with CADA for the use of 5 acres of land necessary for the operation of Hooter Park and appropriating $15,000 from the general fund balance for the payment of said lease. Final reading.
So moved. Second.
Question from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Adopt an ordinance authorizing Mayor Lorenz Walker to enter into the attached local services agreement with the parish of Bossier and to execute any documents in furtherance thereof. Final reading.
So moved. Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Hearing to review the recommendation of demolition and removal of a dilapidated structure located at the following legal address: 1620 Patricia Drive, Bossier City, Louisiana.
Council, good afternoon. This is a rehash of the same house at 1620 Patricia. As of today, I don't believe anything has happened to the house to improve it since the last meeting. The owner is here to address you.
Gentlemen, you gave me time to get my house in order. Since then, I have got a lawnmower. I have cleaned up the yards. I've done a little housework on what I can do. I've done some painting on the shutters. I'm going through vocation rehabilitation, and I've been given a new vendor, and I did not get a chance to meet with him I thought when you gave me that time, I'd be meeting with him within the week. And I just finally now got to meet with him last Thursday. His name is A.C. Donahue, and he is looking to try to help me stay in the structure. He says he's got jobs lined up for me, and that we are going to get me to work and getting the structure fixed. I've got $460 coming in an oil lease check that I should be getting next month, and I'm going to put that toward getting a new window. And I've got a door that I'm going to replace, the bad door on the side, and I'll be getting it up. That money will help me fund those projects, and he's going to be getting me to work, and I'm just asking for, he could not be here today because he cannot come represent me because his job does not allow that, to represent people in, hearings and so forth. But he said anybody could contact him and be in contact with anybody to let anybody know what the plans are for me and my house. He said the first thing we need to do is get you employed, and then after we do that, then we can move forward with getting other things taken care of that you need to do. And so I'm just asking if y'all would just let him have his time. That's what he's wanting me to come here and say today. He said that's a statement I want you to make, is that we are moving forward with this. I'm moving forward with this. It's home. It's where I want to stay. And I'm just moving forward with getting everything together. I want it to look good. I'd like to have the best looking house on the block. And That's just what I'm wanting to do. And just letting Mr. AC have his time to get everything together. Like I say, anybody can be in touch with him. He can be in touch with anybody. He's just wanting things to be better. So am I. I contacted the Bossier Council on Aging. They never got back with me. I contacted the Methodist Association. They never did get back with me either. Mr. Williams, you said possibly maybe the Russian basketball team could try to help me?
Yeah, they're all doing track right now. They went right straight into track.
Okay.
And I saw y'all working last night, because I passed through there after a baseball game about 7:30, 7:45.
Mm-hmm.
You had 4 or 5 people out there carrying stuff in the backyard. You know, it's good that you did, some of the work in the grass, cut the grass or whatever.
Right.
We're more concerned about
the structure. Yeah,
structure.
I'm going to get on to
I'd
that.
like to ask Mickey. Robin, do you have anything you need to add?
No, sir, I just wanted to make sure Mr. Kevin was going to be here today. I know that there is a lady who is here who has an interest in purchasing the property from Kevin to help him out a little bit and as investment property to fix it up, get it back on the market. But I think he's indicated that he doesn't have any desire to sell the property.
Mr. Donahue has told me not to make any deals today until, he has a chance to look into everything. Because right now, really, my life is in his hands and what his plans are for me. I had vendors last year that just didn't get me to work. I was with Goodwill, and they never did get me to work. They just kept me on their list. When they have a job available, they'll give it to you. And it just never come to that. I sit there with them for 6, 7 months, and they just didn't do nothing. Finally, they gave me back to the state. They gave me the Louisiana Blind Association, which was a bad deal. They thought since I'm dyslexic, they figured, well, okay, that would fall in that category. They couldn't help me because they don't, they get jobs for blind people. And I fooled with them for 4 months, and there was a whole year wasted. And so now they've got me this gentleman, and he's more like a freelance contractor and finding jobs. He goes out and looks for jobs. He don't just let them come to him, although he says, hey, things do come to me, but we go out looking, and we're going to make this better for you. They should have last year. He said, I wish they'd have got in touch with me last year. But he feels that, now we're going to make up for the lost time, and we're going to get the things finally better, and I hope so too.
Mickey? I really, this is hard for me. I need help on this one, okay? It really is. I mean, what's your opinion? Is it structurally sound? And the guys on the council, I've known Kevin for a long time, and, anybody we have to tear down their house, it's hard. It really is. So, what do you, guys on the council, I guess, what do y'all think? And Mickey, you too.
We wouldn't be here if we thought it was structurally sound. That's the requirement. The roof is in really, really bad shape. I haven't been inside the house, but you really don't have to go inside to see there's a real problem. But that's where we are.
Why have we not condemned the structure?
We have. That's what we're doing right now.
All right, well,
I condemn it, and then I recommend the demolition to you guys.
okay. So how is he still living in the structure if it's condemned?
This is the procedure right here that we go through when we condemn a house. He stays there until you make a decision.
And I'm just asking because I've got another place to go.
I'm recommending the combination. You guys are the ones that actually do that.
Well, this house, Kevin, this house didn't get into this shape overnight. I mean,
Well, my father, I kept on with my dad before he died to make things better. And I was told I was going to get a grant, and then I found I had some back taxes to pay. The grant was supposed to take care of it, but I've still got to pay those back taxes to get that grant. And that's why they're looking to get me to work. That's why Mr. Donahoe and Vocational Rotation are looking to get me to work to make this whole situation better. And that's just what they want to do, is just get me to work and then, show improvement to y'all, to you gentlemen for, allowing that and allowing us to do that. That's what we're looking to do.
Kevin, I just want to say this. In reality, I think Mickey's figure was 25,000 or.
Yes, sir. I'm not the one that estimates that, but we have somebody. Then that's without going in the house.
That's exactly.
It's going to be expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not gonna be overnight, I'm gonna get a lot done, but I'm gonna get
But
things done.
we're looking at probably, because I've heard a lot of things, okay? Probably, really, honestly, probably better to demolish it and build it back up than go in and repair what's there now. You know,
But
that's-
how
that's
could I,
the
how would I
honest
go
my-
about doing that?
That's what I'm saying. Will you ever have $40,000-$50,000 to do that? I'm not saying you never will. I'm
Yeah.
just saying the history of the last 10 years.
But if it gets torn down and I get charged for that and I've got no way to pay that, that's the thing about it. That's why everybody likes to see me stay there, is because we can work on it and fix it, and it's not one big demolition bill right there in front of me I'm having to pay.
Well, I think it just goes against the lien of the property that, you don't actually have to pay it. The city puts a lien
Yeah,
on the property.
but then I lose my property. And that's what we're trying to keep. We're trying to keep my property so that we can fix it and we can, because it's not as bad as it looks, it really isn't. I know it needs to be painted, but I've got a few bad boards in the front, and I was hoping to get all that done before now. I've been bugging them up there at that state building left and right, and they've even pushed me ahead a little bit to get this done so that I can get a job.
It's really more than just paint. I mean, the structure, you can look at the roof. It's not just the shingles, it's the roof that's, the structure of the roof is caving in.
Well, it's one bad spot there, but it's not the whole roof. It's just that one spot.
I'd
and I
like to
can.
request that the council make a motion at this point.
Could I ask one question?
Sure.
Please? I'd just like to know if we do vote in favor of demolition, will this individual have an opportunity, if he has the opportunity to sell that property for it to be rehabbed, if somebody's willing to fix this up as a rental or for resale, will he have that opportunity after we've made this vote? No.
We'll record the demolition order of the council in that nobody's gonna buy it with the demolition order unless they plan to just buy the property, sans the building.
A buyer, if they were to buy it, would have to sign a piece of paper saying they accept the case and the condition and the agree, what you guys decide.
So
But
what's
he-
the process for that, Mickey?
They would need to have a notarized piece of paper, and we would give them a copy of this and your findings, and they would accept the case as it stands.
So we couldn't recommend demolition today and that be executed, is that right or wrong?
Well, it can be executed. If you condemn the thing today, what'll happen is we'll bid it out in a month and a half, the house will be gone. But if you've made the decision, the person that were buying the house would have to
could
go
stop.
by, they would accept that decision, yes.
Okay. And then they could come back if they wanted to rehab the house, is Mr. Harvey?
The house will be gone in a month and a half.
Yeah, but prior to that,
Well,
I think
that's up
what-
to y'all.
Mr. Harvey's asking is that if they want to buy and rehab the property, can the demolition be stopped if we make that motion today?
Correct.
That's up to you guys.
Go ahead, come back before us.
Right.
But they gotta come with,
Interject.
please.
Miss Sandy Parks is here today, and I was explaining to both her and Kevin previously, if the council just continues this matter and doesn't order the demolition and give them an opportunity to perhaps work out a sale, then she would execute a notarized statement to that effect, recognizing these pending proceedings, so that she has time to make the improvements, I believe is correct. Absent that, Kevin has indicated, though, he has no interest in selling the property. And so there are back taxes that are owed and to the tune of a little over $1,200 that Ms. Parks has acknowledged and is willing to pay, provided she's able to buy the property. But again, Kevin, he doesn't have to sell it. He doesn't wish to sell it. So he wants to stay there. So that's where we are today. So if the council continues the condemnation hearing, doesn't issue the order of demolition, that would perhaps give the parties an opportunity to perhaps realistically sit down and work out some sort of sale arrangement. But if the council issues this order of demolition, then in the event Ms. Parks wanted to buy the lot from Kevin, she could, but it would be a vacant lot in order to build a home or something on. So
If she paid the taxes, of course.
That's correct.
So, you know, in my opinion, Robin, I appreciate you letting us know the legal stuff of it was, it's just delaying the inevitable. I really believe that, you know? I mean,
Well, I just like to see Mr., Donahue get his, get what he's trying to do and see if that's going to be possible, which I think he can. I think it can all work out. It's just I hadn't, been able to get to work. They've been, like I said, they've been just sitting, and now it's finally getting me where I need to be and everything. That's all I want, just to make things better. That's all I want. That's all I want, gentlemen, is just make things better.
and I appreciate it, Kevin, but I just don't think it's gonna happen.
I mean, I know y'all don't want a vacant
So-
lot sitting there in the middle of Patricia Drive.
We'd rather have a vacant lot, because people on the street don't like it either, okay?
I know, that's why I'm wanting to get it fixed up. I know that.
But, and we've,
That's why I
I've let
wanted
this
to
go
get it
for
done.
years and years,
But-
probably when I shouldn't. I know your daddy had died, and I
Yeah.
know a lot of extenuating circumstances, but it's, I hadn't been this fair with anybody in my district that we tear down houses, and truthfully. We do it, they tag it, and we do it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion for condemnation.
You would consider, under the circumstances, to make a deal with Ms. Parks?
I would have to talk to Mr. Donahoe, and, see what he said, because that's what he told me to say today.
Well,
And I would
it's
just,
your house,
but I
it's your
would be,
decision.
I'd be willing to look at all options available to me. So I'd appreciate,
Fix it.
time for me and her to sit, me and Mr. Donahoe and her to sit, all of us to be able to get together and see what we could do to save the house itself and see what we might be able to work out.
Do you have any understanding on how much money, if you sold it, you would be able to walk away with to start over again?
I don't think it'd be very much, so I
So
don't.
you don't have an idea how much it would be?
No, I just know it's gonna be a very small sum. It wouldn't be much at all. That's what everybody's been telling me. It's, it's gonna be a very small sum, so.
So,
I second the motion Mr. Williams has on the floor to proceed with the recommendation of demolition. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd be willing to sit and talk to her and everything to see what we can do. Possibly I could buy it
Can we
from her.
just move this to the end of the meeting and vote on it then? Give him a few minutes to discuss this so that he's clear how much?
I don't,
I mean-
can we
I don't-
continue it to the end of the meeting?
I don't think I don't care.
I don't really believe that we ought to be in the business of
Helping people
brokering
sell
deals here at the city
Right.
council. I have a bad feeling about, you know what I mean? I think we're getting into uncharted waters that we don't need to be in. Is that correct, Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I mean,
I understand the leniency and so
it's
forth.
almost
but-
like the gun to the head, make a deal, don't make a deal, and so my deal is it's either fit for demolition or it's not. I mean, the motion is to condemn and demolish, if I'm correct.
In a second. So I think, we need to vote on that. All right, is everybody good with that?
May I, before the vote, may I ask a question of Bob Brown? I know that he did fill out all the paperwork to get this grant through housing.
But that was done, that was.
That was
stopped.
done, and he got behind on his taxes, and they won't do it now. Is that correct?
Bob, could you come to the microphone, please?
And I'm gonna say this, I've seen Bob's work, but in this case, I've seen other cases, he's gone in and did a good job.
Right.
In this case, that house needs to be leveled, built back, not just weatherized.
I understand.
That's
But
not, probably more than Bob's got in his, account for weatherization or whatever.
Yeah, there's a few things. Being behind in taxes, of course, keeps us from going forward because he may lose, control of it anyway. But he also needs to get his utilities on that aren't on, and then our limit is $24,999 as far as the amount of money we can put into a project. So we don't know now what it would cost or anything, but he's still on our list. We've kept it active.
But that list has been going on now for a couple of years.
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at it getting worse for a couple more years.
Well, I haven't been working, so, but,
Well,
you
but
know.
you're still not working.
But they're gonna get me to work. He's guaranteed that. And like you said, he can contact, y'all
Okay,
can
I'm not gonna
contact
argue,
him.
Mr. President. I would just rather.
See,
I think while we had up was, have we gotten the answer from Mr. Brown that we wished? Okay. All right, council, anyway, I think it's here. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak regarding this?
well, I would just like to know if I lose my work, can I go live?
What was that? I'm sorry.
What?
What did he say? I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, well, if I lose my house, where can I go live?
You have to pick a safe place. The place you're in is not.
Probably a place in downtown, they had, what do they call it over there? Downtown
VOA?
Street Court. Huh?
VOA?
Yeah. It'd be better, you get a home-cooked meal, got a bed.
Well,
heat,
I've got
air
that in my
conditioning-
house.
Heat and air conditioning, water.
I'm fixing to get that. We're making it better. Like I said, I'm just here, just Mr. Donahoe told me.
2 years
this what
since
to
you
say.
had water, and I know that, 2 years.
Yeah, but
All
we're
right.
fixing to get that.
I believe there's no one else that wishes to speak. Council, please cast your vote. Mickey, if you could.
Yes, sir, I'll go out and explain to him what's gonna happen from this point on. But it will be, the usual procedure is we take bids. They have 2 weeks to do the calculating. And then after that, they have 30 days to tear the house down, with weather permitting.
Right.
Mr. Hammock would have 30, he needs to be gone before they show up.
All right, well,
I will talk to him about this right now.
And evidently,
about
got
my
somebody
option
trying
with
to help
her?
him there too, so. I'm sorry, Kevin?
What about my option with her? Do I have an option with her or
That's-
what?
I'm not gonna speak. I'm gonna say right now you don't. That's up to the city attorney. Because
We're not involved.
exactly.
we're not here as legal counsel.
Okay.
We were here to address, as Mickey pointed
Well, I
out.
wasn't sure if y'all were gonna let her or not, if it was up to y'all.
This
what she
matter
wanted
is
to
closed and voted on. If you'd please
do. Okay.
go with Mickey.
Okay, thank y'all.
New business?
Witness opening of sealed bids for Eatman Street water main.
Good afternoon, council. The engineer's estimate for this job is $353,600, and the budget is $375,000. It has one addendum. That addendum included the attendance for the non-mandatory pre-bid conference and slight changes to the specifications and drawings. Okay, the first bid is from ASB Utility Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $274,440. The next bid is from Axis Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's $229,000 even. The next bid is from David Lawler Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $192,204. The next bid is from JPD Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $289,990. The next bid is from Pulley Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $352,000 even. And this is the last one, is from Yorwick. They've acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $284,460. I ask that the council approve the reading of these bids.
So moved. Second.
Council, please cast your vote.
Witness opening of sealed bids for media filters 5 through 8 for water treatment.
There's one addendum on this one as well. Also included the attendance of the non-mandatory pre-bid meeting, changes to specification, and answers to questions. The engineer's estimate is $594,514, and the budget is $600,000. The first bid is from Axis Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $484,000 even. The next bid is from David Lawler Construction. They've acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included, and it's for $635,000 even. The next bid is from Dixie Overland Construction. They have acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's $521,798. I believe this is the last one on this one. The last one's from Yorwick. They've acknowledged the addendum. The bid bond is included. It's for $728,000 even. I ask that the council approve the reading of these bids.
So moved.
Second.
Council, please cast your vote.
Hearing to review the recommendation of demolition and removal of a dilapidated structure located at the following legal address, 835 Barksdale Boulevard, Bossier City, Louisiana.
Good afternoon, Council. The original condemnation case on this was started way back in January of 2015. The owners had pulled a permit in July of 2015 to repair the building. The permit has since expired. Repairs were not made to the building, and the building has continued to deteriorate, and at this time, the ceiling is collapsing and falling in. I opened a new case and sent a new letter in February of 2017. Ms. Hartfield's here to represent them.
Mrs. Rohrer is here with her son today. Royer, I'm sorry.
I've been
State
working.
your name and address.
Mike Royer. I'm actually living in Texas at this time.
If you could just give us your address for the record.
It's 835 Barksdale Boulevard.
Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, I've been working out of state since 2010, and I wasn't aware of the situation with the building until the end of last year. And I come in town in February, February, and tried to, I spoke with him, I believe, and we're trying to get a continuance to either sell the property and the new property owner will demolish or repair or what have you, or get a continuance to demolish ourselves. But we need a little time. She was aware before me. I wasn't aware that the building was in the situation it's in.
How much time? 60 days?
I wish I could tell you, but it's kind of hard because I'm working from out of state to try to help her with this, so I need as much time as possible. I think the ultimate goal is to put the property up for sale, and but if time doesn't permit, we'll have to seek financing for demolishment of the building.
It wouldn't be better for just let city demolish and pay the taxes on?
Well,
The taxes are paid on it.
I mean, after we demolish it, you're gonna owe that.
what would be the total for that?
They have to put it out for bid.
Easier versus, I mean, if I'm getting bids from an individual, the companies are bidding against each other. If I just say, oh, y'all go ahead and do it, I'll pay it, I'll be a fool. Am I right?
We put out the bids too, and we just go with the lowest bidder.
Okay,
Well,
so,
I've had somebody come in, when I get the building torn down, they want to take the concrete up to repurpose it. So they've already talked to me about that, but I've got to take care of the rest of it first.
I mean, I know y'all do a lot of this, and we just seen the case a while ago, we're not living in the structure, but I would please beg you to give us some time to remedy the situation.
We can give you 60 days.
And at that time, come back for another.
Second.
Any questions?
Is the motion going to be to demolish? if
No,
it's-
extend.
I'll have
So-
a rehearing?
Huh?
We want to
Have another hearing in 60 days?
Well, I had a question when you get a chance.
Yes.
So clarification, do we have a motion,
In a second.
and the motion
Is
is
to
to
continue
demolish
it for
in
60 days.
Or just to continue it for 60 days?
Continue it for 60
And
days.
they have to come back.
And then they can come back and tell us what, and I'm just letting you know, when you come back, please have some,
Right, you'll need something to go with, right?
something going, a plan, just to
Right.
come back and say, well, we need more time.
Right,
That's
right.
probably not gonna
I understand.
pass, so,
So that would be the June 20th council meeting?
right.
So, just so we're communicating, so, there's one or two things that could happen here today. One is that it would be demolished, and then, but the way that would go about is the city would get bids for the demolishing. There would be competitive bids, and then they just preside over that. It would be demolished, and then whatever those bids were, the lowest bid would be what you would pay to demolish that ultimately.
Right. So at that point, when the bids are given, the lowest bid, is it a markup on that, or is it just face value, whatever it costs?
Fair question. I don't know the
In other
answer.
words, if you're reselling something, you're reselling for a profit, would the city be profiting off the demolition? That's what I'm saying, that's what I'm asking, because I don't know.
It
What
would
we
be good
do
for
is
you
we
to
had
have-
a $150 admin fee, just like if it was a weeds and grass case, plus the lowest bid. It's $150 plus the lowest bid.
Okay, I understand.
The only reason I was just making sure that you were clear on that, it doesn't occur to me that you're gonna be in any better position, perhaps worse, in 60 days, and it's unlikely that you would find contractors that would be,
I'm here. I'm doing most of it.
yeah,
We own it together.
okay.
I mean, I'll be working toward this from
Well,
out of town as
Okay,
well,
and
communicating with
you're right,
her.
now I'm getting up in the middle. It sounds like you do understand what it is, so.
Yes, sir.
Good. I've said, thank you.
Thank you. So that was.
All right, any other-
June 20th, is that correct?
June 20th, yes.
And they'll get with you, Mickey. Any other questions?
So it's just 60 days, and then we'll address it again.
They'll come back,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, all right.
All right. Any other questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Hearing to review the recommendation of demolition and removal of a dilapidated structure located at the following legal address, 632 Kelly Street, Bossier City, Louisiana.
Okay, this is the last trailer in Ganny Gardens Trailer Park. We sent the letter to repair or condemn it back in July. The condemnation notice was filed in January, was also filed in January, and Robin Hartville's here to represent them.
The conventional owner, Gandy Gardens, Inc., this is an additional piece of property that they have had condemned moving toward demolition, and we've never had any response to any of our notices.
I make a motion, we demolish it as soon as possible.
Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Introduce an ordinance amending section 114-4 of the Code of Ordinances of Bossier City by deleting a portion of the section designated note set forth in said ordinance. First reading.
So moved.
Second. Any questions from the council?
I didn't participate in one of the discussions about this. What is this?
It has to do with the breaking out of sewer charges within the commercial code for sewer charges, and the fact that
It provided an option at the burden of the user to prove that there was some less usage going into the sewer system, and there's only been 2 people that have been provided that opportunity, but it became a more common practice for people to seek it, and we have no way of evaluating whether it's true or not. So it wasn't taken into account that there would be a plethora of these people showing up to do it until we had some people at the city marketing that option. And at the end of the day, the goal is to keep the rates consistent without a degradation to the sewer contribution. And that note in there just said, it left open a Pandora's box, if you will, of opportunity for people to seek reduction of their sewer bill.
in the commercial arena. 2 things. Number one, that was never contemplated in the rate study by Burns and McDonald. And the second thing, the administering of personnel that we would have to put on staff to handle that type of workload is unsustainable. So we're just essentially closing that gray area.
How was it discovered?
Actually, there were people that were, or businesses that were asking to have their bills reduced by installing, separate meters and so forth. And the impact on the system, both from an employment standpoint and a rate standpoint, was such that we would have to revisit, have Burns and McDonald come back in, and it would have a very severe negative impact on the funding mechanism for the water and sewer. Is that fair to say, Cliff?
Well, what if, so if a commercial business wanted to try to save money, does this mean they can't, they have no measurements to do that?
They can't get a reduction in their sewer usage. They pay just like any other business would pay. They pay what they're charged for the sewer usage based upon the use of the water.
In every instance?
Every instance but 2. There's 2 entities that have availed themselves, and that's Willis Knight and Bipsy. But now we have a plethora of other people trying to take that opportunity. We've asked the question. There is nobody competent to evaluate that information, and so we have no way or resource to see if it is a valid assertion or not.
Well, take, for example, a company that utilizes water and recycles it. So that would be I'm thinking like a car wash or something like that. So how it seems like rather than delete this, what you might want to do is make it the responsibility of whoever's appealing this to provide the information that
it does provide that it's their responsibility. We have no one to evaluate it. They can show up and say, we're not putting this much water in the system. We have no system within our control to evaluate it.
So when they made their appeal, what was the results of those appeals to date?
other than the two that I mentioned, everybody's been denied because there's no way, no one's proved that there is a reduction.
So those other two, they were granted?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. I mean, they're essentially being grandfathered.
Okay. So this is going to close that loophole.
That's correct.
in there.
Yes, because it was not, I mean, our whole system, and Mr. Buffington presented, our financial results, it's based on a rate study. And if you change that, then you're gonna open that up, and you know what the result's gonna be.
Right. Yeah, and the rate study was flawed anyway, because we missed several homes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean,
4,000
this is
or
just.
5,000.
Right, so
So
additionally to that, this is Discover too, that's what you were saying, yeah.
Well, but the purpose of this is to provide somebody a means by which, if they're being unfairly charged for sewer, that they could appeal that. And if this leaves no other way of appealing that doesn't strike me as right. And I was thinking of those businesses that, so just so that I understand this right, is then the way that a commercial establishment is charged for sewer, is that just a straight function of their water meter?
Correct.
So if they're a landscaping company and they've got a lot of irrigation, or if they're a car wash company that recycles their water to save money, they're paying for the sewer. Yeah, so I'm not for this. So this doesn't make sense to me to not have this. It also doesn't make sense to me to not have the system to evaluate it, but it just occurs to me we should have something in place to fairly evaluate that. I think that's our job. And the rate study, I mean, if the rate study was based on irrigation companies and recycling companies and all the others I'm not sitting here thinking about, if the rate study was based on that, then that's unfortunate, but that's not right. And so that's the way I see this. I guess this public discussion, but I don't see this as
What happens if?
As a fair and right thing to do. So.
What happens if you have a system malfunction on the line? Does the owner or the petitioner have to prove that as well in order to get?
Usually to get an adjustment, they have to prove that there was a plumbing issue that was addressed and fixed, and then there is some, quarter for, some diminution of the cost.
Okay, so what expert make that decision? Is there someone from the city who says, true, they had a malfunction in the system, so they should have an adjustment on their bill? So does someone do that currently?
Mr. Buffington, I believe.
No, I'm talking about determining that it was truly a malfunction in the system, because you have to know that as well. They could just say their word, but.
I'm just telling you, if there is a proven repair.
Okay, repair.
They get a benefit.
From a plumber.
From a plumber or certified person to do that. So that's the only people that get any kind of adjustment, are the people that prove that they had a repair.
Okay, yeah, and that's not going to take away that.
No.
This won't do that. Unlike Mr. Larkin, it seems like, it's a vehicle that a person has a right as a commercial payer to make an appeal, but if we don't have anybody on the city side to make that call, well, that's on us, and that's not on them. We should have the personnel in order to say true or not true. I mean, that's a cost to the city, and I guess we don't have anybody, but then it seemed like it'd be unfair not to.
Well, I mean, ultimately, this rate study was based on historical data. Now, if 25 more people come in and seek that adjustment, and let's just say we hire an expert to prove that that's the case, that they're entitled to it, then the rate study is going to be flawed because those commercial users are going to all get a reduction on their sewer. So there'll be a rate increase to adjust for that.
But if you go back to the fact that the rate study was already flawed, so it's zero balance there because it started out that way. We discovered that along the way.
This, if you allow this, as you said, the opportunity for this to open the doors, your revenue is going to go down, and then you're going to have to hire people. So you're going to have to reinstitute a rate study, which, and Cliff, if you want to add, if not, I understand, but you're going to be looking at rate increases to pay for it. I mean, so you can certainly go down this road and, you know, make that decision, but understand, you know, the consequences of what you asked for.
Well, they're clear to me, but I don't see the relationship between this and the rate study. The rate study is.
Well, you're going to decrease revenue.
Well,
I mean, that's a fact. That's why you would want to keep this loophole open, is to decrease revenue. So you're going to have to then either increase the sewer charges back to make up for that reduction, and you're either going to increase it to commercial and or residential customers.
well, if a business is being charged for sewer that they're not using, that's wrong. And so if that means that another business.
But there's residences right now today that don't have separate meters, and they're being charged sewer when they water their yard.
So what is?
I mean, that's what you were saying, is there's commercial businesses paying sewer where there's residences as well.
Well, I'm just simply saying is if the method by which we're charging is unfair and unbalanced, then I don't think what we should do is just say, well, you cannot, we're closing all doors to allow a person to come appeal that or establish that.
But are we closing all doors? I mean, do we have any businesses that have 2 meters? I mean, we have plenty of residences that have 2 meters.
We have more residents that have a single meter, and they get charged sewer for every
Right.
drop of water they put on their yard. If you can't afford a sprinkler meter, you have to pay the sewer rate for watering your grass, your garden, or other things. And we have a lot more of those than we do with people with sprinkler meters. So there's an inherent unfairness for the people that can't afford to have a plumber come in and put a separate sprinkler meter and not get charged sewer on their sprinkling. So I'm sure we have plenty of commercial customers with multiple meters, you know, that have that. But this is more of a finesse deal that's going to require, and we can certainly do it. We can hire somebody that can analyze the data once it's provided to see if it's legitimate or not. But the true reality is the reason for the loophole is all of a sudden you get people that tell people, hey, you have this opportunity, you can reduce your bill, you can do all that, and you get a deluge of them, and then you start seeing what's going to happen. You're going to eventually, you know, have a negative influx of income, and we don't provide any kind of venue for people for relief that are residences that can't. If you can't afford a sprinkler meter, you pay, and you have a garden, you pay sewer for every drop you put on your garden. So it's really a similar deal for residents and commercial use. We can certainly obtain the expertise. I mean, that's not a problem. But ultimately, if a number of people take this opportunity and prove that there is some reduction in that deal, they get a deal. But the people that can't afford to go out and hire a plumber to put in a sprinkler meter, they pay every dollar of water they put on their grass, their yard, their flowers, they pay sewer on. So it's unfair in the sense that you're abusing the residential customer, not the commercial customer. And this is a loophole that's been tried, and again, I'm not sure at any point it was legit, because we hadn't had the capability of following through.
One other thing too, the commercial user pays way more than residential. So they look to save if possible. So.
I think good discussion, and any other
It was a good discussion.
questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Motion carries. Approve report of change order number 1 for the Cox Street water main improvements, an increase of $3,076.25. Total cost of contract with increase $32,726.25.
So move.
Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote. I think I need a BC powder. I knew today was bad when I woke up, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Adopt a resolution authorizing the hiring of one fire department line employee to replace one firefighter position due to retirement. First and final reading.
So move.
Second.
Questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Mr. Larkin? Thank you. Introduce an ordinance assessing a $5 capital charge on each ticket sold for any and all events at the CenturyLink Center. First reading.
So move.
Second. All right. I think we had a discussion, and several of the councilmen early in the day. Are there any questions on the council? Any questions from the audience? All right, council, please cast your vote. All right. Any other business? Y'all have a great week. Meeting adjourned.